And we are live.
Director Edminster, we're now streaming. So whenever you're ready.
You're right. My angry email. It's not an angry email. Angry email, don't worry.
Bobby Lockett.
Bobby's here. All right. Well,
Great.
Bobby Lockett.
And
Join the meeting.
Relationship, whatever this is. What is this called? Let me
The External Stakeholder Relations Committee.
It's a long name. External Stakeholders Relations Committee. Today is November 2nd. Please go vote. This meeting, I'd like to call it to order and welcome everybody here. Thanks everybody for showing up. There's some really interesting items on today's agenda that I'm excited to get into. I also think we should keep this relatively short and quick. So without further ado, let's get started.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman Edminster. I do have one update that I'd like to provide before going into the agenda items to you and Director Lockett. On last Saturday, the Housing Authority experienced an emergency situation at Stillwell Towers, and they reached out, the Executive Director, Ms. Davis, reached out to me to assist in evacuating a few of their 8 to 11 of their residents. It seems that there was a fire on the 14th floor. Of course, the elevator shut down and they had to move those residents out of that area. So we were called to transport them because most of them were disabled and in wheelchairs. So we were called to transport them to an extended living facility on Abercorn Street. And I'll just say that it went very smoothly. They were very appreciative, and we will be transporting those residents back to Stillwell Towers tomorrow. So we were just really happy, excuse me, that we could step in and help in that regard.
Very cool. Great job.
Thank you. Then we'll move to the proposed agenda items. The first thing on the agenda, let me mention too that there were 2 additional items that will be added to this agenda that you received after the original agenda was received. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm having some sinus issues again. But they will be the Uber Technologies agreement and also the safety plan that has come before the board previously, but is now coming for final approval. So those will be 2 additional items. But the first item on the agenda is the comprehensive operational analysis and the transit development plan. And we're presenting these items together because they're going to be conducted at the same time. Ms. Roundtree?
Yes, Ms. Ragland and directors. We would like to request board approval to issue an RFP for, as Ms. Bell said, a combined COA and TDP. As you are aware, our TDP expired in 2018. We were recently made aware that it is requirement by FTA that we have it updated by June of 2022. So this is a very aggressive timeline. And we do think that we can, we feel confident that we can fulfill and make sure that we adhere to that timeline, because this will be just kind of an update to our previous TDP. So it won't require as much. It won't be just starting it from scratch. So we do have something to start from, and we just want to move forward with an issue an RFP for this planning document.
The TDP, how does this fit into what happened with the Jarrett Walker?
So yes, it's quite different. This is just a focus plan for the agency. It's kind of like short-term and long-term plan that we can identify what our needs are long-term so that we can start working towards it. So it's not specific. With Jared Walker, it's more route planning. So it's a very specific project. And this just it's an overview of our entire agency, so that we can kind of plan for the future. Fleet expansion, service expansion, and just kind of the needs. Financial, it looks at financial suggestions or recommendations for the agency. And it's just kind of, with the management and everything. So we do think that this is definitely a needed plan.
Is route planning included in this, or maybe a concept of looking at where future needs might be popping up?
Yes, sir, Director Edmister, that will be a part of it. Yes.
Yes, it's actually a roadmap, if you will, for future planning for Chatham Area Transit.
How is the public involved?
So normally in the previous TDP, we do have community outreach for this and their input by way of surveys and meetings. We will see how that can be done in our new COVID age. Probably a lot would have to be virtual, but we will include or request for this TDP to have community input.
And we also are trying to use some of our partners, specifically, but not limited to, the Chatham County government and City of Savannah governments to push this information out for us as well.
I know that I feel that when we did the Jarrett Walker plan, a really successful day was when everybody went to Savannah Tech and it was like Transit 101. I've heard from people for, ever since, very, very frequently, that was a very informative day. That was a very informative day for them to learn about transit and to also learn like what you can reasonably ask from transit, which I thought was really important. And so I think if there's any way that we could try to get a community conversation at the beginning, I think what happens so very often is the community is presented what's already going to happen and then say whatever. And those comments are included as footnotes, but not necessarily like in the core of what people's concerns are. And I think it would be really helpful to try to have community input as close to the front as possible. Other than that, I am excited about this. That's very cool.
Okay, good.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, community input is a very important part of this plan, and Ms. Val knows with the TDP before, that was definitely included. So we will definitely make sure that it's at the beginning.
And so are we going to be voting on issuing the RFP, putting it out there into the world?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
This is what this agenda item is, the actual issuance.
Okay, very cool. Mr. Lockett or Director Lockett, do you got any questions? Okay. All right.
Excuse me, Chairman, and Mr. Director Lockett is trying to get his audio to connect, so he's not able to hear until he's connected back. Okay.
Can he hear the conversation?
He was, but it dropped.
Oh,
And so he's reconnected from his other device.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, the next item on the agenda is the Security Services RFP and scope of services issuance. And this is a request to issue the RFP for our security service. Ms. Cutter, if you would just briefly summarize what this RFP is intended.
Okay, currently, good afternoon, directors and Mr. Lockett, colleagues. This RFP is typically to procure services of a 3-year contractual agreement for security services. Currently, we have a month-to-month contract with Sun States, and the Safety Division is recommending that we move forward with securing a permanent 3-year contractual agreement. Any
We are,
questions?
I think someone asked a question earlier in one of the meetings, was the current provider in good standing with us, and would they apply? They are in good standing, I'd just like to say. And we hope that they do
Join
plan
the meeting.
to respond to the RFP. They've been very, very timely in that they're providing reports. We haven't previously received from a security agency. They actually police the perimeter of both buildings, and we've been very pleased with their service. So I hope that they do respond to the RFP.
They are able to respond to it, bid, provide the bid to them.
Yes.
Okay. I hope they do too. That's a great.
Yes. Okay. The next item is the supplemental paratransit service agreement. And I believe all of the members of the board realize or recognize that we've been having some very trying times providing timely paratransit service. It's been overwhelming with the shortages of personnel, as well as our social distancing policy that we're still adhering to, means that we can't transport as many people on one vehicle. But we have really, really come into crisis mode with paratransit service, and we need this additional assistance for that service. We have been in conversation and talks with the Coastal Regional Commission, and as I think you all are aware that this is something that they do on a regular basis. They actually have some employees that they were having on a part-time basis that they could put into these positions to assist us. They would be driving their own vehicles. We're still looking at the liability. We've gone through legal, we've vetted through legal, and we're ready to go as soon as the board says that it's okay. But we are in dire need of assistance in providing some timely service to our paratransit passengers. It's not uncommon on an everyday basis to schedule 300, 400 clients, which is almost impossible for us to cover.
Is this what is this? Oh, no, this is simply
Just for paratransit service to assist. When we have, if we have, for instance, if we have,
wait, real quick. I think CRC is that
Coastal
who
Regional,
before?
we have been in contract with them in the past. Yes, we have.
Mr.
I was
Chairman,
thinking organization. I don't have to get that. My only thing, and again, I think, our next, in a while, if you guys wanted to do an emergency board meeting for some of this stuff, we're still in crazy times, and may not be a bad idea to just get it up and going.
Yeah, so as soon as the board approves this, they're ready to go. Like I said, we've already gone through legal, it's been vetted through legal, and we are ready to move.
A necessary emergency procurement is required to prevent the immediate termination of a critical CAP function. Why is it possible? What is being terminated? What could possibly be terminated?
Our paratransit services, if we don't, that's how dire we are right now. And that's why they're placing this under emergency procurement.
Then I would recommend us moving, if it would help with getting an approval from the board sooner than later, I would submit that we do try to do that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I could make a call to the chairman to see, if it's, I know the board meeting is 2 weeks away, but if we could move forward prior to that, it would be awesome.
I'll email him.
right.
And Director Lockett, if you can reach out to Director Cody, Chairman Cody as well, I think that would help a lot.
I see he's acknowledging it. So yes, sir, I see you.
All right.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you, sir. Okay, the next item is the Community Surplus Vehicle Award. We just want to make you aware of the application process and that we will be making the award announcement. Ms. Roundtree?
Yes. The application period ended on last Friday, and we are excited to say that we did receive 16 applications, qualified community applications for this one vehicle. So we're excited about the overwhelming response. We're just upset that we can't provide more vehicles because there's obviously a need in our community for this. So we will be making the announcement at the board meeting on November 16th.
How many buses are we getting rid of?
Unfortunately, we only have one paratransit vehicle.
Well,
I wish we had more.
Well, cool. Very cool. I was excited to see that number as well.
Yes.
Yes, it was in the applications. When I was reading through a few of them, I said, wow, they really need this. So many of them, they need these vehicles, and I just wish we had more. Maybe we will have more in the future, but it's going to be really hard for that committee to decide who to award that vehicle to. They're not making it easy.
All right, what else do we got?
The final item is the Public Transit Agency Safety Plan, the PTASP, which, as I stated earlier, that it was added to the agenda. It is coming back to the board for final approval after some modifications and revisions have been made on it. This document is not anything that is new to the board. It's been presented a few times, and this is the final time we're hoping. And that concludes it.
What about the Uber thing?
Beg your pardon?
The Uber, I got a system.
Oh, I did overlook that one. I apologize. You're right. I do apologize. The Uber Technologies Agreement. Yes. This one is a provision for, as you know, we've been assessing the routes, and the 11 Candler and the 20 Coffee Bluff have been two routes that we've been looking at for quite a while. They operate Monday through Friday. They don't operate on the weekend. So we are hoping to, as one phase of this Uber agreement, to allow those passengers who have used those routes as an option to use Uber within a zonal period, in a zonal area. So they'll be able to catch the call an Uber to their place or whatever they decide to start their ride, to the place where they can transfer. They can't go to the direct. Let me start over. They have to be within the zone of the bus route. That's as far as they can go. If they want to go beyond that, they can, of course, pay for those fees themselves, but CAT will be responsible for the fees up into the same zone that the route covers. And that just provides an option for them. Rather than eliminating service completely, it provides an option for them. They'll have 2 opportunities during the day to travel, and they will also have to have a code that's given to them to access the program.
I'm
Ms.
just,
Roger,
but
I'll let you.
this would be very interesting.
Yes, and as we discussed earlier, it might also address the first and last mile situations that we've been having with some of our passengers not being able to get to other destinations within the county. Ms. Roundtree, could you explain it? Because I think I just kind of messed that up.
You did well, Ms. Val. Yes, there are three phases of this program. As Ms. Val said, one will substitute the route eliminations that we're proposing for the 2 routes. The customers will have a zonal service, so that they will be limited to 2 trips per day. Anything outside of that will be their responsibility, or anything outside of the zone. And this is just a way to encourage for them to continue using our transit system for other routes and trips that they need. So we would want them to continue doing that. Another phase of it is our supplement paratransit service. So it's very similar to CRC. This will provide intercity connections. It will just be as needed. We hope that we can provide most of the service internally, but we will have this in place so that if we are challenging with getting customers picked up, that we can rely on setting up an Uber service for them to be picked up. And then the last is the late night service. As you know, we have not restored service to 100%. And so a lot of our service, kind of ends around 10 o'clock. And so with this program, it really kind of addresses our late night shift workers. We'll be partnering with businesses so that they can register the employees, and just kind of a verification process of those customers, as well as verifying their hours, so that we can kind of supplement. And while we are trying to rebound and looking at restoring the service, we're just providing kind of a cushion and just an insurance for them so that they can get home from work or to work during those late night hours. So it will be a business partnership with those employers so that we can continue providing excellent service.
I'm very interested to see how this goes. And I'll probably have more questions as we move forward. If you guys can send me anything about it, I'm really interested in it. My main thing, especially for this, is I really want to see as much data collected from this as we possibly can, because I believe we might really want to look at it. That's very interesting, though. I'm intrigued.
Very good.
Well, Director Edminster, with the issues of COVID and related circumstances, we have to be creative and try to find other means of providing transportation. And this agreement, I think, is just what the doctor ordered, if you will, is moving in the right direction of providing some options to our passengers.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that could be kind of a big deal.
And that actually is the end of those agenda items. And I apologize for overlooking that last one.
Dr. Lockett, do you got any comments, questions?
No.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I'll reach out if I've got any questions. As always, reach out if you need. I did send an email to Chairman Cody requesting an emergency meeting sooner than later for the CRC contract. And without further ado, it's been a great meeting, and thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right. Bye.